Alright, we're trying a new position. Hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't, I'll just never do it again. Okay. Today's episode. Season 3, Episode 6, Dust to Dust. So, my God, this was an interesting one. This episode had basically everybody was in it, and all of the elements. So the basic premise was, I guess, that there's this drug dust that if you take some, it enhances your latent telepathic abilities, and you can basically invade one person's mind and experience all of their life within a matter of minutes. And it's addictive. So Bester shows up being like, guys, there's going to be some on the station that we're kind of trying to deal with. And they're like, Bester, none of us like you. You are awful. So so they make him take this drug so that he can't read their minds while he's there. And he's like, okay, whatever. So there's a lot of him hanging out with Garibaldi and them like trying to figure this whole thing out, which is fun because Garibaldi detests him. What else? Well, of course, then it turned out that Jakar was the one who was going to buy all of this dust and try to fuck with the Minbari with it, but no Narn has ever tried it before. So he did. And it made him kind of go psychotic, and he went to Londo's quarters and got in his head. And it was all rather traumatizing. Alright, well, what can I say about this? Holy crap. First of all, I was like, Jesus, Jakar, I thought you were maybe kind of the good guy? I mean, holy crap. Crossing a line. But when he was done messing around in Londo's memories, he started having like this weird vision, and some like old Narn dude came to him. I think it was Jaquan. I'm not gonna like say for sure because the episode didn't actually say, but I think that was the idea. But then it turned out it was actually Kosh. What? Of course, friggin' Kosh is like all of the Jesus figures and kind of, I wouldn't say and all of these deities and whatever rolled into one. So friggin' of course it's Kosh. How he got into sort of the mental link thing, I have no idea, but whatever. So he's fucking around in there. God, Kosh. So now Jakar is going to spend, what was it, 90 days or something in the prison cell. But he's super chill about it. He's like, okay. Because now he's got this connection to, I guess, Jaquan. And, except for Kosh, but he doesn't know that, so I'm just kind of like, I don't know. What? Vorlons creep me the fuck out. Oh yeah, this was tons of fun to watch. It was just like, look at it's Lanier and it's Delenn and it's Veer. Oh my God, Veer was in this a ton. He came back to visit after he spent some time in Minbar, and he was just talking about how great it was and how he loves all the Minbari and they're all so great. And just, God, Veer, you're such a sweetheart. You're like, but he's so devoted to Londo too. It's just like this, like, oh, Veer, he's not exactly worthy of you. But there's this moment where he said to Delenn and Lanier, he said, maybe he'll surprise you someday. And I was like, please, I hope he does. I hope someday Londo does something really, really good. Because I like him a lot, okay? Oh my God. Well, yeah, it was tons of fun. To have Bester back, because I love Bester. He's a little shit. Such a little shit. So yeah. This was good shit. Oh, and there was one other moment when Ivanova wants to prevent Bester from landing on the station, and she knows that the others have sort of a plan to deal with them, but she doesn't think it's going to work. So she's all prepared to blow up his ship, but then Sheridan comes in and is like, no, stop, what are you doing? I loved that. I loved Ivanova kind of being like, I don't know, it was just great. Because it was interesting, I guess, is the thing. It was an interesting thing for a character to do. It's always interesting, I think, to have a protagonist who would do a thing like that. Because you can explore certain avenues. And yeah, what? Oh, sorry. So yeah, I got a lot of entertainment out of that one. Loved it. I wish I could watch 1,000 more episodes, but I can't, because I can only watch them when I go to the library. So, in a few more days, another one. And hopefully that'll be as fun. And I guess my other thing is that, okay, if I'm going to have any mad predictions, my only mad prediction that I'm really getting out of this one is that maybe Jakar will be made a telepath by this experience. Because right at the end, Bester was talking to another psychop person, and saying, you know, oh, we Psychor invented dust, basically, in a hopes that it would stimulate humans to become telepaths. But it hasn't worked. And I went, well, hang on. What if it works on the Narn? You don't know because you never tested it on them because it wasn't meant for aliens. But what if it did? I think that would be really, really interesting. Especially just the way that they edited, I guess, that part of the episode. Because it was the very end, and he was saying that, and then the shot went to Jakar sitting in his cell, and I was just kind of like, so. Oh, excuse me. All right, well, that's that for that. Hey. All right, so today I watched episode 7 of season 3, Exogenesis. This it was another example, I guess, of what I see as this pattern in Babylon 5, which is taking ideas and twisting them to be very different. Because for most of the episode, you think it's about a bunch of nasty parasites taking over people, probably from some sort of diabolical reason. But then it turns out the people volunteered, and the parasite things are actually sort of galactic librarians in a way. They live for a very long time, and so they amass all of this knowledge and experience. They're kind of like the Trill, if the Trill were super creepy and kind of gross. Not that the Trill aren't already kind of gross, but like grosser. So that was interesting. And it was an opportunity to have a lot of this character Marcus, the ranger who stays on the station, who apparently has a thing for Ivanova, and she is like 10,000% not interested. Although perhaps the lady doth protest too much, I don't know. So that's going on. So I guess I'm slowly warming to Marcus. He's still just kind of there, and I'm kind of like, But he's better in this one. Probably because he started quoting, one of the first things he did in this episode was quote Hamlet, so I was kind of like, yes. Also Dickens. When else have we referenced Dickens and quoted, I don't think. Yeah, none of the aliens were in this, which made me sad. Because I read my first Babylon 5 fan fiction, Confession Time. It was actually really good. It was set in season 1, which is why I felt safe reading it. But I came across it at random while I was looking for other things. It's by Nemo the Everbeing. You should check it out. But anyway, yeah, so that was a very funny story that I enjoyed immensely. And it had all of my favorite characters in it. I'm like, nah. Okay, plus, I have a question. Where's Natath? Did she leave at some point, and like, was there an explanation and I've just forgotten? Because it's possible. But I miss her. I like Natath. Anyway, so I hope the next episode is plenty of aliens running around being ridiculous. And I mean, I know the last one did. It was pretty much focused on that. But damn it, I want every episode to be focused on that. That's not episodes about this Marcus guy. I want more episodes about Londo. Shut up. Alright, anyway. No, let's have an episode about Lindier. Can we please? I still have a crush on him. It's there. It's just, it needs more fuel. Maybe that would be a bad thing then. I don't know. Yeah, I don't have that much to say about this episode. I don't know. The subplot was about Ivanova getting to know this dude who just got promoted. to Lieutenant, because they're like, well, he might start poking his nose into things, so we gotta know how far we can trust him. And she didn't think he was someone they could really talk to. And there was the whole thing with the roses. I did like the way that ended. That was pretty funny with her thinking they were from Marcus, and then giving them to Marcus and being like, you keep these. And then he's all like, you know, because they're not from him, he's like, oh, she's giving me flowers. I was like, no, damn it. But anyway, so I don't know that much to say about this one. But I do have a second episode up on my computer right this moment that I may watch today. I haven't decided yet. So, who knows, maybe I'll get my wish for lots of wonderful aliens before too long. Alright, today's episode, number 8, Messages from Earth. Oh, I wish I could watch the show every day. It's just so damn good. It's just got all these big plot threads that keep going, and it doesn't waste time being like, let's just fuck around with something else for an episode. You know, like, it'll do it a little bit, but it stays on topic, and I like all the characters, and I like the world. Anyway, okay, so in this one, we learn some more creepy news about the shadow ships. So we meet a scientist who, an archaeologist actually, who worked on Mars, and they found a shadow ship buried 300 feet beneath the surface. Maybe it was miles. That seems really deep. Meters? Fuck, 300 something. And anyway, they excavated it, but then stuff got a little creepy. So it turns out that Psychor and some portion of EarthGov, even if we don't know exactly who, is working with the shadow ships, which is just all kinds of fucked up. Like, oh my god. These guys are everywhere. But then it turns out they found a new one on Ganymede, except this time EarthGov is like, no, we're not going to turn this over to the shadow ships like we did before. We're going to take it home and figure out how to work it ourselves. And so, of course, Sheridan is like, we cannot let this happen. So he takes Delenn and the dark star, the light star, whatever the fuck that, the white sun, that shit, the cool ship, and they go to Ganymede to destroy the shadow ship. So they have some adventures. We learned, here's a creepy thing. So the shadow ships are controlled by, like, a single kind of occupant plugged into their core, in a way. Like, I guess kind of like that planet with the dude running it. And, yeah, that's creepy. So as soon as Delenn revealed this little factoid, I was immediately like, alright, how long until some character ends up inside one of these ships? How long until that character is Londo because everything terrible happens to him? And he wasn't in this. I miss him. Where is he? Jakar was in this episode, though. There was, in one scene, Garibaldi came to visit him in his prison cell. And it turns out he's been spending the time meditating and thinking and writing a lot. So maybe he'll have everything figured out by the time he's released. Jakar. You grow on me. Marcus is growing on me too. Mainly because in this one, at the end, he came to Ivanova with this stupid chart he'd made with like pictures of all these people and how they were connected. And I was like, I want to see this. But it was really funny. So, because she was asking how he fit in relation to her and all of these things, like basically, because I guess she, you know, she thinks in that manner, and he's like, oh, well, here's this stupid chart I made her. It was just, I thought it was funny. Of course, it led into something of a terrible revelation on the news. So, okay, basically, when they came in and destroyed the shadow ship, nobody really knew what was going on. And so it was reported that a mysterious alien ship had come and attacked Ganymede. And so President Clark is using this to up security, and as an excuse to up security. And he's declared martial law. And it's like, well, shit. Meanwhile, the Night's Watch is being dicks. My battery died. Sorry. The Night's Watch. I was going to start talking about Zach because he has this little subplot. So I like Zach, and I want him to be, I want him to be on our side, and I'm worried. I'm worried. It seems like he could be, though, because he doesn't seem to like the way the Night Watch is going, which is good because they're creepy and awful. So, yeah. Let's see what else. Oh, in other news, I still ship Sheridan and Delenn. Just there hasn't been much fodder for it, really. But there was in this episode, so Oh, and that story he told about his dad making it rain by aiming the hose at the roof. That was so cute. I was like, oh, this whole thing. Plus, I was laughing because, God, poor Sheridan is like, I'm going to sleep now. And he gets in these beds are at like this weird angle. He keeps sliding down. I'm like, no, really, Delenn, how do you sleep in these things? Please explain it to me. But, yeah, so I love it, and I want to watch more. So, yeah. Very good episode. Messages from Earth. I never know how to end these. Good night and good luck. Okay, guys. Episode 9, Point of No Return. Wow. There were so many times during this episode I wanted to screen cap it and just print in huge letters, everything is awful. Not that it was an awful episode. I mean, that's pretty much a given that it wasn't. But holy crap. Okay, so the martial law thing, for some reason I was like, oh no, martial law. But I was thinking of it more kind of like, oh, Earth is under martial law, whatever. But no, fuck. It comes to Babylon 5, of course. And poor Sheridan, has to read this declaration of martial law, which no one's listening to because they're having a big riot in Zocalo. But, fuck. And then the Night Watch takes over security, and everything's awful. Just, it's terrible, it's awful. But they are able to, kind of deal with the Night Watch situation. Okay, so basically Night Watch is like, we're taking over. And because Garibaldi won't join Night Watch, it means Zach is in charge. And finally Zach does the right thing. I was like, yes, Zach! You have redeemed yourself in my eyes. Because I want to like you, and you keep kind of hanging out with the friggin' Night Watch people, and yay, Zach! So now the Narns are in charge of security, which is super fun. Narns are great. Because there's, and let's see, now, this was sort of like, Jakar was like, alright, I'll do this for you, but Sheridan, there is something you can do for me. Let me in on your whole thing. And I was like, yes, please do. Because, I mean, Jakar was the one who, he kind of figured out who the shadow ships were in the first place, saw them in the Book of Jaquan or whatever. And, yeah, he should have been let in on this 6 months ago. But, here we go. We're getting some Jakar. So I hope they do. I think they will, but, I really hope that they do agree to let him in to their little group. Yeah. Jakar's cool. He has the coolest boots. There's this bit where he comes to, I don't know what they call their center of operations place. And you're in the lower pit, so you just see his boots as he's walking in. And I was like, damn, those boots. So cool. I want boots like that. I don't think I'd ever wear them, but they're so cool. Anyway, that's Jakar. In Londo news, Londo. So basically, there was some point where he saw the future last season or something, and I don't remember much about it. Well, okay, because he sees himself as emperor as an old man. I remember that, and I think it also involved the thing where he's standing. Well, no, that was a dream, where he dreams he's standing on the planet and just seeing all the shadow ships going overhead, and it's super freaky. But anyway, so he's pulled a bunch of strings, and he's gotten the third wife of the former emperor who we met, I think, last season, who was this cute little old man, and then he died. And anyway, so she's a prophetess, and so he wants her to predict his future, or to see his future. Okay. And she is played by Majel Barrett. Yes, I saw her name in like the guest star credits, and I screamed. It was horrible. I fucking love her. I would watch a show that was just every character is played by Majel Barrett. I would watch that show. Alright, like, I feel like I'm one of the few Star Trek TNG fans who really liked her character, Loxana Troy. God, she was awesome. Like, you would hate somebody like that in real life. I mean, because she was incredibly irritating, but God, I loved her. She was so great. Anyway, so she's in this, so that's awesome. I love Majel Barrett. We can add her to the growing list of people who have been on Star Trek who are also in Babylon 5. I actually had a really weird dream about that the other night. I dreamed that I thought that the guy who played Lanier was the same as the guy who plays Kurn, Worf's brother, on DS9 and TNG, which, no. Worf's brother is played by Tony Todd. Just so that you can kind of, like, imagine exactly how wrong that was. Like, they look nothing alike. Whatever. Stupid dream. I was, like, telling my sister this in the dream. I was super, like, oh my god, it's the same guy. It was so fucking stupid. Okay, anywho. That is what happened. Yeah, so he gets her to predict, his future. And what she sees is that he's got I guess he had 5 opportunities to turn away from this kind of like doom or whatever. And he's already screwed up 2 of them, so he's got 3 left. And she described them. I don't even remember what she said because they were nuts, but the last one had to do with sacrificing himself, and the second one had to do with not killing somebody who was already dead. The first one I don't remember. So let's see how many more bad decisions Londo can make that'll doom him forever to unhappiness. Oh, the other thing she said, though, was that he was going to become emperor no matter what he did. And that Vir was going to become emperor, too. One of them after the other died. And then they were kind of like... and I was like, oh, shit. Oh, I loved it. So here's my insane prediction. I don't even know if this would happen on the show or, like, years later. I don't know. It seems like kind of a weird thing to bring up and then not have happen on the show itself. But would be... For Londo, would be emperor first. Because I can see Vir as being actually a really good emperor, because he's maybe not in the way that the Centauri would define a good emperor, but in the way of, like, Vir is just a sweetheart. He really is. And just him being so sincere and being like, oh, but the Minbari are awesome, and here, just, I wrote this report about the Minbari, and then of course Londo was like, no, we have to change everything to make them sound less civilized than us. And poor Vir. And so I feel like he would be a good leader because he wouldn't be up on all the political stuff and he wouldn't be fucking around. But then, of course, I could also imagine somebody assassinating him, like, you're not good for the expansion of our empire. Speaking of expansions of empires, so Earth Alliance is all like, we're disbanding the Senate, and I'm immediately all like, the Empire. It's like, yes, there is no, as of this morning, there is no longer an Imperial Senate. Oh, God. You know what movies the local library doesn't have, and it's fucking tragic? Okay. Yeah. So, I think I just kind of, like, freaked out about that episode for long enough. It was super good. I want to watch the next one right now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to watch it tomorrow. I'm going to be good. Yes, because, that way at least I can start stretch out before I can go to the library the next time. So, Jesus, everything is. But I mean, they're pretty much fucked. They're like, oh well, we're fucked. This is a temporary solution with the Narn and everything. Oh, one more thing. One moment for my Sheridan Delenn shipper's heart. Delenn isn't even in this episode, but there's the point where he gets the orders for the martial law on the station. He's talking to Ivanova, I think, and he's just like, oh, this is, I'm going to make this announcement once I stop feeling sick about it. He's like, once I can get... And then he just goes, I wish Delenn was here. And I was like... because so fucking pathetic. But okay, there you go. There it is. That was it. That episode was friggin' amazing. It was like, yes, it was so good. And Majel Barrett, ladies and gentlemen. Alright. Alright, so I was actually on a roll, and I was going to have this whole video where I'm just flipping out, but then I was in the in the last scene, and my friggin' dad called, so that's lovely. I was like going insane, just staring at this paused picture of Delenn, being like, what? But anyway, oh my god, this episode, seriously? Okay, so I said yesterday, that, you know, they were like, well, this thing with the Narn is only sort of a temporary measure. But, as usual, Babylon 5 was like, why should we take a pause? Why should we take a breather? Let's be insane. And so then, in this one, they're just like, oh, man. Anyway, everything went completely crazy. Like, Mars and Orion colonies and Proxima 1 or something, Proxima 7, I don't remember. Some colonies all kind of declared independence from Earth Alliance until Clark gets impeached. They're like, so he's a crazy fuckhead, we don't approve of this martial law thing. Then Clark sent a bunch of ships to bomb the shit out of the Mars colony. And then, of course, Babylon 5 was like, we're gonna now be our own thing too, which was awesome. And like Sinclair wasn't in this fucking episode. Sheridan gave a whole speech, and it was great. And meanwhile, Delenn was like, I'm going to go to the Great Council and tell them how it is. So, okay, so she's basically like, hey, Great Council, like, for the last 4 years, I've been telling you the Shadows, we're going to start fucking with everyone, and looky here, they're doing it, and you did jack shit to prevent this, and you are awful. And the warrior caste sucks, and basically she gets the council to split. And she gets the members in the council who are the religious and the working castes to come with her. And then they come in to save the day, because, like, there's a couple of ships that were kind of, you know, that were rebelling with, like, General Haig and whatever, and they come to Babylon 5. So, you know, that's kind of like the opening scene. They're like, we're going to go to Babylon 5. And I was like, oh, great, because Babylon 5 needs this bullshit right now. But anyway, so in they come, and there's all this craziness, and then, of course, Earth sends a bunch of ships in to, like, take them, and then it's like they're totally screwed. But then in comes Delenn and her Minbari ships, and she's like, exactly one human has survived an attack on a Minbari ship, and he's behind me, and you're in front of me, and maybe you want to be somewhere else. And I was like, oh my god. And so she saved the day. It was wonderful. And then when she got on the station, Sheridan was all like, dude, you saved the day, you're awesome. It was like the best moment of my life. And it was super great. And he like kissed her hand, and then, because, you know, I ship it like burning. And then the other three characters that are, fuck whoever they are, Franklin, Ivana, and Garibaldi were like, hi, we just showed up. Ugh. And, oh my god, and then they were like, Sheridan, there's this thing you need to see. And so then they went to the Zocalo, and then there was a whole crowd of people, and they all clapped, and it was wonderful. Okay, so I freaking love this episode. I freaking love this show. The show is so good. Okay, I was freaking myself out, though, because, like, all of the people were in danger, and, like, Ivanova had to go EVA, and that's what it's called, whatever, and, you know, and, from her ship, because it got hurt, because she was in one of, like, the little fighter jets, and Garibaldi was injured, and I was, like, freaking out, because I was like, oh my god, if you hurt either of them, I'll never forgive you, show. And Jakar was in one scene, and he was awesome, and Londo was kind of being a prick at the beginning, and then he never showed up again, so that's okay. And holy crap, I love everything that this show chooses to be. So really, yes, I want to watch like 500 more episodes right this instant, but I cannot because I don't have the internet, because fuck my life. But I'm going to the library tomorrow, and I'm going to load some more, and then watch them, and it's going to be great, and it's going to be wonderful. So I'm vastly looking forward to that. I'll just make faces. Yeah, so basically, I was freaking out for, 45 minutes or however long this episode was. However long it was, I'm freaking out pretty much the entire time. God, it's so great to see them just be like, yeah, we're going to take our stand. And I'm like, ah. So. And I'm pretty sure they haven't like said it, but I'm pretty sure Jakar is part of their like little thing now, because he was helping out Dylan and Lanier with an injured Minbari guy, who I think was a ranger. They didn't say it specifically, but he was finding out about stuff, and he'd found out that the shadows had been messing with a whole bunch of the aligned worlds. Of course, he had to say it like the shadows are moving, and I was like, stop. So, in conclusion, the show's amazing, and I am so worried that at some point the show's just going to like drop the ball, fuck everything up, and be awful. I'm so worried. Because I'm just worried I'm going to get to this point where like I trust the show. And I don't want to trust the show, because then what if the show screws up? And then I never forgive the show. I'll just be like, what are you doing? You are awful. Because, like, I've heard bad things, and I don't even remember specifically what those bad things were. Actually, one of the things I've heard fairly recently was that the first season is hard to get into, which it totally wasn't, so that's not true. The first season was pretty great, actually. Probably helped that I was in love with Sinclair, but I was in love with everybody else, too. And still am. Oh, Sinclair and your eyebrows. Please come back to me. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, I love it. This is a great show. And here's hoping it continues to be great, and I'm like seriously in need of the next episode to find out what the continuing consequences of all of this madness are, because oh my god, it's so great. I love how the show is like, we're focusing on this war with the shadows, and then suddenly Earth goes fucking insane. So it's just really great. And of course, it's probably the fucking shadows' fault, because I'm going to blame them for everything. It probably is, like, really. Oh well, Vorlon Jesus will save us. Vorlon Jesus scares me. Anyway, like, more than the shadows do. Vorlon's a fucking creepy. Anyway. You know who I want to come back? I want that Psy-Core character played by Jeffrey Combs to come back. He was fun. God, okay, no one cares. Goodbye.